Let's start a podcast for everybody. So, Harry, it is just a great honor to have you, and thank you so much for giving your important time.
That's all right. Thank you very much. Is this? Are we going to record the video on this, or just the audio?
Video would be appreciated.
Rightio. I'll see if that comes up.
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah.
There we go. Perfect. I'll just take this over here. I'll give you a bit of a different background.
So could you tell the stories behind these your achievements? There's a cap and there's a code behind a blazer cap, and there are a couple of balls, a white ball and a red ball.
Yep, white ball, red ball. Oh, this little thing here. Barney Rubble. Jason Gillespie gave me that.
Oh, great.
On one of the tours, so I don't want to get rid of that. Jetsons. There we go. Oh, got one of my dad's old bats here too.
So how old is that bat? Your dad used to play it for what year it is? Is it?
Oh, I reckon that would be 1969.
Oh, that's old.
Very thin. Well, match it with the two edges there.
There's a huge difference there. And you got Perth Scorchers background there.
Yep.
So how was your time with Perth, and how was your time at Big Bash? Let's talk about first about the Perth.
All right, we're starting now, are we?
Yes.
Yep, right. Look, the Big Bash, absolutely loved it. We played for the Perth Scorchers, who I've got behind here. That was actually we had one of these in our locker each year, so in our locker space. But it was probably the best 5 years of my cricket career. I don't think you're going to get a better culture in any sporting team than what we created in that Perth Scorchers. And we had a mixture of youth and experience. And, we had it so that it was a safe space. So if one of the younger players saw one of the senior players not doing the right thing, they could speak up. And I remember Ashton Turner. I was bowling in the nets the day before a game, and I wasn't that confident leading into the fixture the next day. And he said, "Hoggy, stop overdoing it. You're the best bowler in the competition. Go home and relax." He pulled me out of the net, made me go home, and it was one of the best days I bowled the next day, just because of the youngster pulling my head in. So we had that respect for each other.
Great to hear you that about the Perth team. I've watched them over the years, and you've done well. Not recently, but over the years, they've done fantastically well in Big Bash, and they've been example for other teams.
Yeah. Oh, look, they were unbelievable. We didn't really have an aggressive batting team. We just felt that if we got to 140, 150, we could defend that total. There was one game that we played the Renegades out the Furnace, or the Wacker that we call it the Furnace here in WA when we play with the Scorchers. We only made 117, and we're sitting in there as a bowling group. We can defend this, but let's not do anything different than what we planned. Let's just go out and go about our business. And simply the way that we went about it was Berendorf swings the ball in the first couple of overs, gets early wickets. If he didn't get any early wickets, well, then it had to be the spinners. Michael Beer was playing out that time as well, left arm off spinner. He just attacked the stumps, and we didn't go away from our game plan. We kept it simple and we won it. And we always had that belief that we could win from any position. And I think I'll raise this up with a talk that I did the other day. You know the All Blacks from New Zealand.
Yes.
The rugby team. Yes.
Now, one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah. They are probably the best team that is on this planet with the success that they had. And they had a set of rules in their team, and one of them was clean the sheds. And that's what we did with the Perth Scorchers. We made sure that we cleaned the change rooms, the training track every time we finished a session or we finished a day. And that little bit of discipline carried out on the field, and it made a huge difference. So, and it just created the culture that we respected each other and we respected our space.
Okay, great. So let's go in the past. So start about your career. So at what age did you realize that you would like to become a cricketer, and at what age you became fully you realize your potential that you can become a great legendary cricketer?
Look, ever since ever since I could crawl, my mum, my grandparents, my dad knew that I wanted to play sport for a living. It was just a matter of which sport. And my dad played cricket. I showed you that bat. I used to follow him around in the country. There it is there, the bat that he used to use. And as you can see, he was pretty decent. He used to middle it a lot. I used to follow him around, and so him and his teammates knew that I wanted to play Test cricket from a young age. So they'd be throwing me balls day in, day out whenever I was out training or whether I was out the game. So if you weren't batting and you were sitting on the sidelines, you had to throw balls to me. So every time a team saw that they were playing Greg Hogg's team, that's my dad, they were fuming because they knew that they weren't going to get a break from me that day. So I knew that I wanted to play for Australia from a very young time. I remember watching Australia play the West Indies on the black and white TV screen here on the family farm. They had the likes of Michael Holding, Malcolm Marshall, Andy Roberts, and I remember they just dominated Australia. And I was looking at it and I thought, I want to save Australia. I want to beat the West Indies, I just imagine myself captaining Australia from a very young age. I really had a tough road getting there. It wasn't easy. You see a lot of kids travel in under 15, under 16, under 19 teams. I never represented my state in any format till I was 22. So I'd nearly given up the ghost of pursuing my Test career or pursuing a career of cricket. And I went back to the farm and I got a letter in the mail that said I was in a Colt squad. And I said to the dad, well, all right, what do we do here? He goes, we'll go to the city and give it one more go. And I said, if I haven't made it by Christmas, that's December 25 over here in Australia, I'm coming back on the farm. So December 22, I was on the flight back, I think, from the Colts tour. The coach of that Colts tour said, oh, can you come over here and sit next to me for a minute? And he said, we thought you were completely different than what you were. You didn't have a drink on the flight while we're on tour. But when we see you down at club cricket, you always have a drink after the game. And I thought, all right, that's what's keeping me out. So I stopped drinking after that. And I got picked for the Shield game following that tour. And I played my first Shield game February 2, I think, in 1994. And on that tour, I didn't have a drink, but everyone else was doing exactly what I do at grade cricket. So I was a little bit lost. So there was a bit of a tough road. But yeah, I'll go back to when I was 12 years of age. So here in Australia, in West Australia, we've only got 2 million people in an area which is probably as big as or half as Pakistan, probably. So the country town that I was in had 8 teams. And they had a rule for me at the age of 12 that I could fill in for any adult team that was short of a player that weekend. I'd be waiting on the phone every Friday night for a call up for the Saturday game. So I'd be sitting there as a youngster on the phone, waiting. Didn't get a phone call the first week, second week, third week. It was the 4th week where I got a phone call. And it was the captain of my dad's team, Tawonga. He said, Brad, are you all right for this weekend? I just put the phone down, yelled out to the old man. I said, Dad, I'm playing with you on the weekend. Now, my dad is my hero. And so on Saturday morning, I got up and gone around and helped Dad with the family chores, you know, feeding the sheep. And anyway, we get back for a quick lunch. I jump in the ute with him, and we've got a 40-minute drive to Boddington where we're going to play Boddington. So I put my kid on the back next to his. I'm sitting in the car in the ute. Now, my head in the ute couldn't look over the dashboard, so it's a little bit like this. And then I'm just trying to lift it up over the dashboard and just to have a look. I'm talking to Dad on the way. We've got Lindsay Neems. He's the fastest bowler around. We've got the Sherrys that are the batsmen. How am I going to get them out? And rock up to the game. We park under a couple of gum trees with a few Eskies out on the boundary line. We've won the toss. We're batting. I'm number 9. It gets to, we get past the first hour and a half. We have a break, the second hour and a half. We've had tea. And then about 20 minutes after tea break, it's my turn to go out to bat. So I'm walking out. Lindsay Neems is bowling, and I've set guard. Now, my head's just above the stumps. I was a late developer, so it's just above the stumps. Lindsay Neems, the quickest bowler in the competition, comes in, and the ball goes straight past the nostrils into the keeper. I turn to my parents and my 2 uncles that are sitting on the sidelines who are in the team with me, and I sort of raise my arms for a little bit of help. Can you slow this bloke down? And my Uncle Peter yelled out, "Well, if you want to play cricket for Australia, you better get behind the next one, young fella, or you can go home and your mum can babysit you for the next 5 years." So, yeah, the next ball right behind it, pushed it out to cover, and I was on my way to, there we go, getting the baggy green.
So after such a long story, such a fascinating story, how was it to wear the baggy green for the first time?
Oh, look, I think that's the pride and joy. I think any national team, you know, you get your baggy green and you want to wear it as much as possible. I only got 7 test matches with it, but I was fortunate enough to play a lot of one-day cricket. But at the end of the day, you know, I got to wear one of these beautiful things and achieve my dream that I had as a youngster. And I think there's not too many people in the world that, you know, can that achieve what they set out to achieve when they're a youngster, especially in the sporting world. It's such a tough gig, such a tough journey. So I try and respect it as much as possible, because I know that there's a lot of people that would love to be in my shoes. So, you know, I thank them for their support and love of the game, because if it wasn't for grassroots cricket, those dreams wouldn't come true.
Indeed. And how is it like to win a World Cup in that baggy green?
2 of them.
Yeah.
That's a bit cheeky, isn't it? Look, it's just amazing. You go through that scenario where 2003, I was on tour of South Africa. We're playing Pakistan in the first game. The night before, we had the issues with Shane Warne. And then Andrew Simons comes out, makes 100 the next day and gets the momentum going for us moving forward. And through those 2 World Cup campaigns, we did not lose a game. And yeah, I just look back at it and I just think, wow, how did that happen? You know, you got that opportunity where you thought you were going to be the second spinner, then you're the frontline spinner for Australia. You've got all that pressure. Don't let Australia down because you're filling the shoes of the great Shane Warne, and then ending up, I think I was the second most highest wicket taker in both competitions as a spinner behind Muralitharan. To be able to achieve that was something special. Yeah, you know, you look back at it, I was pretty insecure in that first World Cup. And there was a moment there where we were playing Zimbabwe, and the game, flying over to Harare to play them, Bulawayo, sorry. We're flying from South Africa. Darren Lehman, Ian Harvey and myself were assigned to do the team meeting and go through the plans for the Zimbabwean players. So anyway, we're sitting there and we've gone through the 2 openers. We've gone through Grant Flower. Then we're talking about Andy Flower. And Darren Lehman and Ian Harvey have gone on for 40-odd minutes over Andy Flower. And I said, for Christ's sake, guys, just give me the ball and I'll get him out with a flipper. And Darren Lehman's just turned around at me, goes, you're the most inexperienced player in this team. That is a stupid idea. You just keep quiet and we won't hear anything more from you for the rest of this meeting. So anyway, that's good. That's good. We come to the game. I've been brought on. Grant Flower, Andy Flower are batting. Bowl the first over and they're just trying to sweep the living daylights out of me. And then the second over, at the top of my mark, I'm going, right, I've got to bowl the flipper here. It's in my mind that I've got to bowl the flipper. And then I'm thinking in the back of my head, John Buchanan, the coach, always says bowl your stock ball first and just get it on the right line, right area, just to get your rhythm for each over. Don't try and be too fancy with that. Just get one or even a dot and build the pressure. And I'm sitting there going, I never listened to the old man on the farm anyway. I'm just going to bowl the flipper. So out it came. I was off stump, knocked out of the ground, and there I am. I'm celebrating doing the chainsaw. You know how you do a bit of a fist bump on the knee. And I'm yelling out, and you think that I'm giving Andy Flower a send-off, but I'm having a crack at my teammates. You'll listen to me now, won't you, boys? So, yeah. So, had a bit of fun with the 2003 World Cup.
Okay, what great stories hearing you for the first time. And what are the stories behind the blazer? And there are two helmets. One is the Australian, and other one is a KKR, I believe, behind you.
Go again, sorry?
There are two helmets behind you. I wanted to know the story behind it. One is a KKR helmet and one is an Australian helmet.
Yep, that's the Australian helmet. Yeah, it's got a bit of a bend on it. I think hopefully it wasn't when I threw it in the change rooms and it's fallen off here. Yeah, I just keep that there for just little pride and joys where you look at it and you go, you know, I travelled the world with that helmet, and then I've got the KKR helmet here, and that's playing in the IPL. You know, it's just been fortunate enough to go around the world and play in all these different T20 leagues, and I look at the KKR helmet, and what that tells me, it's not about the cricket, that experience with the KKR helmet. I played for the Rajasthan Royals there. It's about being involved in a team with a different culture. So obviously you've got your overseas players there, but you've got a lot of Indians in that particular lineup, and to be able to play with players that you played against on the national side of things, but you never got on internationally because you never went into each other's change rooms. It was a different feeling, and it was a good feeling. And I'm so glad that I'd retired and I came back, because that one experience just made a huge difference to my cricket career. And I realised during that international career, the most important thing that I wanted out of cricket wasn't there, and that was the interaction with the different cultures. So I'm just fortunate enough to have been able to experience it with the old IPL. So, and playing in the Sri Lankan League, I didn't play in the Pakistan League, but I've played with a lot of Pakistan players in the different leagues around the world. I remember in Sri Lanka, had a dinner. I was the only Westerner in my team, and just sitting there with all these different players from different cultures around the world. And finally, I had to fit in from my culture rather than the other way around. You know, we had Yasser Arafat here with the Perth Scorchers, and we tried to make him feel as welcome as we possibly could. And, you know, being on the other side of the fence, I wish I had experienced it a lot earlier in my career.
So have you ever been to Pakistan?
I haven't been to Pakistan. I really want to go to Pakistan. Miraz, who is a friend of mine here in Australia, he's from Karachi. He's trying to get me over there to visit his family sooner than later. I actually want to go up to the mountains, up to the hills, I think Pakistan would be such a fantastic place. I just mentioned Afghanistan as well. I'd love to visit there as well, another cricketing nation that I haven't been able to go to. I think it's imperative, it's important that we get cricket in those areas with international teams travelling there.
Yeah, you surely love it. And would you, after hearing about so many stories, would you like to know my story about my podcast and the whole this thing about these interviews?
Yep, go for it. Yeah.
So I'm a computer science student. During this lockdown period, 6 months ago, I started this series. I thought it's time to do something productive during this period. So I started these series, and this is for the first time I'm doing a video podcast. So you're the first guest on my video podcast.
Oh, gee whiz, I better pretty myself up then.
Yeah, you're looking great.
No, well, you know, everyone out there that's looking at this, watching this, and listening to your podcast, you know, through these tough times, you're making something of your time. You're doing something different. You're challenging yourself, and that's what life's about. You know, trying to find an answer to keep yourself busy, move forward, and you know, try and put yourself in a position that you're productive to put you in a better position down the track. When everything hopefully settles down sooner than later. So how is everything over in your neck of the woods?
Here people didn't really at first didn't take the measures and didn't take it seriously, but there were rises in cases at the time of May and June, but now it has settled down, and from 2 days, a day after tomorrow, my university is also opening after 7 months break. So things are looking bright here.
Oh, that sounds positive. Yeah, no, we've been very lucky here, over here. It hasn't hit us as hard as everywhere else in the world, but we've got a smaller population as well, so we're very lucky in that regard. But you know, a lot of our people listened early and saw what had happened over in America, what had happened over in England, and we didn't want to go down that path, so we just thought, right, let's all just sit down for 2 weeks, try and get on top of it and see where it goes. So far it's worked well.
Okay, great. So I think it's time to end our interview. It was great to have you, and thank you so much for giving your all important time. And it would be appreciated if you tell your former Australian colleagues about my podcast and would they like to come on my show. They would be most welcome.
Oh, that's all right, mate. No drama. Thanks, Wusat. Hopefully everyone understands me. Hopefully I didn't speak too quickly, but everyone who's listening, if it wasn't for your love of the game, our dreams wouldn't come true. And you know, it's I just hope the game comes out in a better space, better position when this all settles down. And I think the ICC and the cricket community, the powers to be, could take a huge lesson here and revamp the calendar so that we can have quality test cricket, one-day T20 cricket, and you know, have a space for all the T20 tournaments as well around the time. I think we can do them all in four-month blocks. So, yeah, and when I say 4-month blocks, 4 months for test cricket throughout the year, 4 months for one-days and T20s, that's international, in the 1-4 block. So you play those in that 4-month period, and 4 months set aside for T20 tournaments around the world. So, you know, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Australia, England have a certain time that they can play their tournaments. Obviously, there's going to be a few tournaments overlapping, but yeah, that's my 2 bobs worth for the future of the game.
Yes, yeah, great idea. And if you ever want to come back on my show, you're most welcome. Whenever you wish to come, we'll do it again.
Thank you very much for that. Have a great day, and all your viewers, stay safe, and hopefully we get back on track sooner than later.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you.